And welcome. David Levin here, Raising Your Game Today. This is Tuesday, so we're talking sports and sports parenting. And the subject today is winners. The individuals who end up on the podium holding the trophy, champions. And the question is, are they born or are they made? Is it about talent or effort? I'm thinking of this because I heard an interview with Sally Jenkins, the sports writer. She has a new book out. She said very clearly the champions are not born, they are made. And one interesting difference she notes to support this is that for most of us, and this is not a slam or anything, but we avoid our weaknesses. As we're, trying to find our path and be successful, we lean into things we're naturally good at and avoid things we're not good at. If I'm good at math, for example, I'm looking at math and science fields. If I'm bad at math, I'm looking elsewhere. If I'm good on camera, I might do video podcasts. If I'm not, I'll do audio. That's the idea, and that's what most people do. But she says that athletes, and especially those who become great, do the opposite. They go after their weaknesses. When they identify, whatever it is, they'll specifically work on that until it's better. That's how they end up great. They chip away at their weaknesses. They get stronger in all these different areas. So obviously, it's the result of their effort. It is made. Now, I suppose you could say that that is actually a sign of that being born, the psychological difference that makes them do that as opposed to the rest of us, that's innate. Could be, you could say that. I'm reminded, too, of something I've said before here, which is, I think this was the head of Mercedes Racing, but anyway, he said, I've never seen a driver who was truly great who was not also a broken person, meaning there was some deep-seated need to prove themselves, like an insecurity that drove them, no pun intended, to work harder than any normal, sane person would ever do. So again, that sounds like something that's inborn or at least, altered maybe through some traumatic childhood. But her point, and I think on balance I'm with her, actually I'm sure I am, is that individual success and greatness and accomplishment is the result of work, not innate talent. Yes, of course, there's a big range of natural talent, but especially when you get to that elite level, everyone there has a pretty similar natural talent already, right? To stand out at that level and win, it's about work. And it's also not necessarily about just one person, even in what might look like solo sports. I'm thinking about Formula One. I've been getting more and more into that. Thank you, Netflix. When I first started following, or maybe it was the early Netflix series, Mercedes and Lewis Hamilton were just totally dominating, winning everything. Best driver ever, stories about him. And Red Bull was just the upstart, right? Just trying to scrape their way into the top tiers. And this wasn't that long ago, just a few years ago. But now, these past couple of years, Red Bull is totally dominant, winning literally everything. This year, 9 out of 9 races so far, Red Bull has won every one of them. Their lead driver, Max Verstappen, has won 7 out of 9 races. Their second driver has won the other 2. It's basically unheard of. People are booing at times because the races are starting to get, a little boring. Guess what? Max got the pole position. Max was in the lead. Max won. Wow. So, does this mean Lewis Hamilton is no longer a great driver? Of course not. He's as good as he ever was. Is Max absolutely better? Not necessarily. It's a team sport. The car has to be there too. So even at that level, champions are made, not born. And here's one more element of this that is my favorite, no surprise. But this is a quote from a tennis coach in the Breakpoint series. He said, no matter what your level, you're only as good as your mind lets you be. Ooh, you know why I love that one, right? But think about that. You're only as good as your mind lets you be. You can have all the talent, all the learned skills, the expertise, the best equipment, the best team, every possible opportunity, and you will still only be as good as your mind lets you be in the moment. The mental game is the ultimate make or break factor. If your mind gets in your way, you will not perform at your highest level. There's just no way. But if you can keep it from getting in your way, your best self will naturally come out. This is super exciting for me because I know from what I see in our students every day that a strong mental game is absolutely made, not born. You can learn to control your thoughts and your emotions and your impulses so your best self comes out. And again, I see this over and over. This is not speculation, right? This is observed fact, and it's not even that hard to do. So anyway, that is the question for today. I think it's a common question. It's been debated, year after year. Are champions born or made? I know a lot of coaches, especially early on, I think, they think they're born, not made. And the problem with that is it makes them favor kids who are more talented. It makes them sort of dismiss kids who don't seem to have that innate talent. There's that great article, there's a whole book, not a whole book, but part of a book from Malcolm Gladwell way back that showed that coaches were even favoring kids who, like they were mistaking talent for age, like kids who were a little bit older for that age group were more obviously developed and strong and coordinated, and they were mistaking that for innate talent when it actually wasn't. Anyway, it can become a problem when we get this wrong. I imagine you have your own opinion on it as well, but based on my experience, mine is that, of course, there are differences in natural talents and abilities, but at the end of the day, it's about doing the work. Champions are made, which I think is inspiring because it means that no one, within reason, no one needs to think they can't do what they want to do. If you can be smart about it, be realistic, be strategic, keep working, and keep putting in the work, you can get there. At least there's no reason to tell yourself it's impossible and not even try. Success is about putting in the work. It's not about natural talent. All right, if you have teenagers in sports and you want to help them learn how to keep their mental game from getting in their way, check out our Mental Game Starter Kit. It's a great set of resources to help you start boosting their mental game. You just go to raiseyourinnergame.com, scroll to the bottom. You can learn about it and register there. It's all free. We also offer private and group coaching you can learn about at the site. If you like what you heard on today's show, please tell your friends and rate and review us on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to podcasts. Every review helps more people find the show and get the mental game boost they need, and we all need one. If you'd like to support the show so we can keep things ad-free, please click the Buy Me a Coffee link below, and thank you for that. Also, if you're listening to the audio podcast and you like video, we post all our episodes on YouTube as well. There's a link to that in the show notes. And finally, as usual, we will close with Steve Prefontaine and his quote from the end of the Raise Your Inner Game book. To give anything less than your best is to sacrifice your gift. That's what we're doing. We're working to be our best and help our kids be their best, both on and off the field. So keep up the good work, and we will see you next time.